We've just been talking about tourism, and this next story, exactly the message about South Africa that harms our international reputation, never mind being a terrifying experience. A group of tourists were in Jozini, north of KwaZulu-Natal, a few weeks ago. They managed to survive what looked like an ambush. Poachers opened fire on their boat. The tourists claim that they saw poachers hunting and shooting at animals during this wildlife sightseeing tour. And I'm joined now by our reporter Nqobile Madlala. So Nqobile, we saw this on social media a few weeks back. I mean, the visuals are astonishing. You can see that everyone is told to basically hit the deck. Bullets are flying everywhere. You've actually managed to speak to people who were on that boat, who were extremely shaken up. What have they been telling you?
Well, yes, Sally, we did manage to speak to Suzette. I mean, when she explains the incident, she really just says it was astonishing how it happened. She says during the time when she was busy trying to ensure that she was tying the boat and they could get out and so on, then the next thing she hears is that some of the people that were at the top deck of the boat who were trying to see animals and just watching elephants and so on, then they started shouting that there were people that were standing on the side and they were shooting at them, and they said they had guns and that they were going to shoot at them, and so they all then sort of hurried down to try and get some assistance from her. And she says that she then had to act quickly and try and get them out of that place, but before she could, she then heard 2 shots, and those were some of the things that she said she was worried about, because this was something that had never happened before. She says poaching is a major issue in this area, and that they have seen it over time, and they've had to deal with things like getting an elephant that it's already has died, and that they've cut some horns from it, and they've had to deal with a syndicate, she says, that is currently in the area that is looking for fishers in that area and called tiger fishers. And she says she had dealt with it in that incident, but she had never specifically at that point had seen them shoot at people, and she was just saying that they're worried because it means it's escalating and it needs to be attended to immediately. Let's listen in.
I've been here for 4 years, nearly 5 years, and that was the first time ever. And we've been literally out on hundreds of these excursions where there were never any conflict between poachers and tourists. So this kind feels like it's escalating into a certain direction, and if we do not stop that escalation, this might be the end of tourism as we speak in this area.
And it is such a beautiful part of the world, and it's absolutely horrific to think that these people, their lives were at risk. We also know that there was footage of elephants that had been shot, so it is really looking more like a crime scene than a beautiful place to visit to see wildlife. So there's real concerns about security and also specifically around the community. Just tell us more about that.
A huge concern around security. In fact, we managed to speak to anti-poachers there, and they were saying, anti-poaching units, and they were saying that they really have their hands full. They have to drive around that lake, and like you say, Sally, it's beautiful. So there's a lot of people that want to come in the area, but in order for them to make sure that the waters are safe and that the area is safe, they have to cover a massive area, working together with an SAPS wing, which we're hearing at this point that it's just only the 4 of them that are there, and which means that they need more capacity to ensure that such things are taken care of. But a major worry saying that even when they get to some parts of that area, they find people, and those people will just say that they're herding the cattle and so on, and so they can't really prove if they are there because of that or if they are poachers. But there's certain section that specifically they're looking at, and they were saying that if SAPS can give more manpower, they can actually look at that and perhaps erase that whole area of the poaching. But it just needs more operations. It needs more people to go in there and work twice as hard. But at this point, they're saying that they're just making sure that it is safe. They're trying their utmost best to ensure that tourists don't ever go through what they went through. We heard from the DA also saying that they're taking this to provincial. They want to speak to provincial commissioner in KwaZulu-Natal to hear if there can be more manpower and if there can be units that can be sent in there to assist, because they're worried, Sally, they're worried that tourism in this area will die if they let that continue. They're worried that there are jobs, there are people that are getting money from that area, about 1,000 people that are already getting jobs from Lake Jozini, and so they're saying it's very important that it's taken care of.
Let's take a listen.
With staff, you know, they get intimidated that they're not allowed to speak. They live among the poachers, and the poachers know exactly who the staff is. So none of the staff would speak up because their lives is in danger, and also their jobs would be endangered. So yeah, it's definitely terrifying everybody that's around the area, and especially the staff.
Yeah, this is actually a really tragic story. Thank you so much for highlighting it. That's our reporter, Nqobile Madlala, coming to us from Jozini, KwaZulu-Natal. Now let's move back to